cloud. Yeah, dear friends, let me formally introduce Ari. And Ari is leading online workshop already third year with Chicago group. So, and we decided to do online celebration the first day of Archangel Vidar. And so I would add, so Ari is a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, and he has also studied anthroposophical medicine, homeopathy, acupuncture, osteopathy, and agriculture. And since 1981, he has run a private holistic practice in Sandefjord, Norway, for healing of small animals and horses, as well as people. So Ari is author of many books, I believe 25 or 26, and at least 12 or even more already translated in English. Maybe all of them they're in English. So, and you can find at least 5 of them.
I actually write in English primarily, so I translate them, some of them to Norwegian.
Okay. Thank you. So, dear Ari, thank you so much for joining and for kind of co-organizing this event. And if you're ready, so I'm passing my mic to you.
Yes, thank you, Andre. I'm ready. And I have been thinking about this talk or day for a long time and how to form this talk about Vidar. And I landed on the title about like Vidar as the teacher of our times. Because our times need more teachings than every time need enlarged teaching or enlightened, what you call, and further teachings. And as Rudolf Steiner described the old mysteries, he said, where the gods talked down to human beings. Stars once talked, and then the human beings have to talk to the stars, to the gods. And then that is the new mysteries, but the newest mysteries in our times is the opening of the elemental world. And that is a huge, huge importance, because all the paths to the spiritual world, to the higher spiritual world, to the gods, and including to Christ, go more or less through the elemental world. And that is why it was so effective that when the god 5,000 years ago shut off the spiritual world, they could only do it by, or they could most effectively do it by closing the elemental world. This also Rudolf Steiner confirms, and 100 years ago, when he was asked if it was possible to go through the elemental world all the way, he said that was too early. We had to wait some years to do that. Today that is possible. So the new path into the spiritual world is through the elemental world. So today we have the old one path through the etheric world, but now the new is through the elemental world. So Vidar is, if we go through the elemental world into the spiritual world, we will meet the threshold And on this threshold, we will meet Vidar. Rudolf Steiner have described Vidar's path to this situation, a few places, not many, but he described Vidar as an angel helping Buddha. And then when Buddha, the Bodhisattva became Buddha, 600 years before Christ, then Vidar was free. But he did not get a new appointment, so to say. He didn't work then as an angel. He could then ascend to be an archangel, but he did not. And this, I might say, baffled the old Nordic peoples quite much. So they didn't really know why he was silent. They called him the silent god. And he had a special seat with the other gods. And this seat was in a way shared with Loki, which is Lucifer. And Lucifer is at the beginning of the path through the elemental world. So there is a connection between Loki, Lucifer, and Vidar. This was not clear to the old Nordic people, but in Vålusbo and the old Edda, it is described how all the gods will change. Well, they described it as all gods will die. But in the spiritual world, a god cannot die. He just change his position or change his work, and then for the initiated eye, it looks like they sort of die away, but they are elevated. So in this Ragnarok, or the death of the gods, Götterdämmerung in German, all the gods will die in the fight against the adversarial forces. And they describe 3 adversarial forces. So already in this time, 1,000 years old in the north, they were very aware of that it is actually 3 adversarial forces. It's the Luciferic and Ahrimanic, which we talk a lot about, but equally important, the Asuric forces. And the leader of the Luciferic forces was, in their view, the Midgard snake, Midgardsormen. It's a huge snake that went around the whole world, and it could bite itself in the tail. So it was a very, very worldwide influence. And for the Ahrimanic forces was the Fenris Ulv, Fenris wolf. And for the Asuric forces was Hel, or Hel. So at the Ragnarok, where the gods were supposed to change office, so to say, these 3 adversarial forces had to be conquered in some way. And then Vidar, he was the only one who could conquer the Ahrimanic forces. So he had a certain cooperation with the Luciferic forces already, and then he conquered the Fenris wolf. by his will, his foot. So then Steiner continues, then Vidar waited for this moment, and as quite many agree that the Götterdämmerung, Ragnarok, death of the gods, is in our time. So then Vidar is very important in the fight of the Ahrimanic forces. So when then in this Ragnarok time, when the elemental world opens, then Vidar is there to teach us about these adversarial forces, these three adversarial forces. And that is why he is the guardian of the threshold of the elemental path, because the elemental path leads through these three adversarial domains or areas, realms, forces. And then it is so important that we learn about today the elemental world. Another importance that Steiner underlined and that Andrew Linnell so eloquently put forth to us is that Steiner said that there are three occultisms. And these three occultisms, that is hygienic occultism, and mechanical occultism and eugenic occultism, they are related. You meet these three occultism in the elemental world. And the hygienic occultism is in fact related to the Luciferic forces, to the Midgard's worm, snake. In Norwegian we call snake orm, not worm in a way. And the mechanical is linked to the Ahrimanic forces. Which is quite thinkable. The Ahrimanic is the mechanical. And to understand mechanical occultism, you have to understand Ahriman. Or the Fenris wolf, said with the old world. Fenrisulven. And to understand eugenic occultism, you have to know the Asuric forces, which also is called in the old Nordic language Hel, which gives rise to the modern English word hell, that is sort of death. And according to Steiner, these Asuric elemental beings, they govern birth and death. And they have a terrible force. They are very strong. So on this teaching of Vidar, which to receive this teaching, all these three counter forces, these three adversarial forces, we have to go the path to the threshold of the elements, the door of the elements. This is a name that also Rudolf Steiner put on this door. And there you meet Vidar, who the path in itself is a teaching. And when you come to the threshold, Vidar continues the teaching until you have enough knowledge to pass this door. So you see today, this Vidar as a teacher is very, very important. Because without this knowledge of the elemental world, there are so many things that we will not understand. Among other, the three occultisms. So Vidar's teaching is then very much also contained in quantum mechanics and the quantum field. Because to understand the quantum mechanics, you have to enter the elemental world. And that is quite interesting, because when I entered the elemental world, I suddenly realized, wow, this is exactly what I today discuss in quantum mechanics. For example, entanglement, the speed of light, the relativity of the speed of light. Even if you move with half the speed of light one way and then you send out a beam, this beam will sort of go also 300,000 kilometers per hour per second relative to you. So it will be relatively 1.5 times the speed of light. And this is secrets or laws that is inherent, is contained in the elemental world. Also, this teaching that Vidar give on the path at the threshold and at the door is, as far as I can understand, very subjective. That means that I, who have a certain knowledge of quantum physics and of medicine, I received an extensive teaching in these fields. Or is it that when you are sort of ready to or have the foundation of understanding the teaching, then you will experience the teaching as subjective or relative to your needs? That is highly positive, probable, because, for example, that is talked about in the Gospels, in the Bible. A Bible, if you are 10 years old and read the Bible, you understand, you think you understand a lot. When you are the Pope himself and read the Bible, you think you understand a lot, but they are on very different levels. You can read the Bible and understand on the level that you are. That is also possible then with the teaching of Vidar, because this teaching in medicine that I received is not necessarily the same teaching as other people receive at that threshold. For personally, the more important teaching I received from Vidar as a teacher was the translocation of diseases. And this can only be understood if you look at the elemental world. In medicine, it is very often usual to look at the etheric body. And a healing will, for example, be to strengthen the etheric body. But when you look then in the elemental world, we will see that the strengthening of the etheric will push out the elemental being that caused the disease, just like Rudolf Steiner described in the 5th Gospel. When Jesus of Nazareth, he was at the Essene village, and the Essenes, they were living very healthy. They did everything right. They prayed, they ate vegetarian, they ate and drank clean water. But what Jesus Christ observed was that the pathological elemental beings, they run away to the others, which means that was a so-called translocation. And that is so important for me in medicine today, to not just treat or heal a person, but to hinder the elemental being to go out, like described in many Gospels, and then attack somebody else, like described in the demon of Legio and the swines. And that means that is not moral to us as anthroposophists. I gave once a lecture in Poland for a World Congress of Veterinarians, and I described this, how when you treat even alternatively with herbs or with homeopathics or with acupuncture, you cause a translocation of the elemental being. You cure the patient, but you push the disease on. And the veterinary listeners, they wouldn't hear. They said, if this is right, then what we do is wrong. And then two veterinarians from Taipei came and said, he is totally right. We know this in the East. We are totally aware of it. But we won't tell you in the West because you don't believe in spirits. Besides, in the East, we accept this because these elemental beings, you see, they go from the stronger to the weaker. So when you heal, let's say, a strong alpha man, then a beta woman might get sick, or the gamma servant, or the delta dog, or whatever. And then you have the entanglement, because these elemental beings, they are connected by entanglement, just like this law in the elemental world, in quantum physics. That means if you have a disease from an elemental being that originated in some deed, in some person somewhere, then you are connected to this person forever, until you have transformed this elemental being. Rudolf Steiner, I don't know if it was asked, but he said that if anybody have listened to my lectures, they will forever be connected to me, he said. Because when you present spiritual truths, they are created as elemental beings. And when you then receive this truth, this elemental being will enter you. And you will forever be connected to that person who presented that teaching or that truth. So to understand this, you also have to consider the newly opened elemental world, which it is Vidar's task today to teach us about. So these are the newest mysteries, the mysteries of the elemental world. And Vidar is the one who will first and foremost teach us these new mysteries. The old mysteries was taught by other archangels or higher beings, but not these elemental truths. And that comes to a riddle that I have used a long time to try to understand. At the time of Rudolf Steiner, there were three paths into the spiritual world. One was the path of the sun, which he preferred to teach about. The other was the path of death, which might frighten some. So it was these two possibilities 100 years ago. It was additionally the path of the elements, which Rudolf Steiner told that was for that time being, closed. It was not yet open after the Kali Yuga, the 5,000-year closure. But today there is a fourth path into the spiritual world, a fourth door, which we call the path of light, which is mainly based upon the teaching of the I organization. And the guardian of this door is fourfold. And Vidar is one of these fourfoldness. And I have wondered for some years now why Vidar is both at the gate, the door of the elements, and on the gate of the light. And I think it has to do with, you see, the I organization is related to the physical body. The etheric body is related to the life force, the astral to the temperaments, to the emotions. Then you have the elemental realm, which is also called the physical realm, the physical body. And Judith von Halle, she makes a lot about explaining that the physical body is not the material body. So the physical body is related to the elemental realm. And Rudolf Steiner also relates the I organization to the structure of the physical body, he say. He do not say the material body. So this I organization has a foundation in the elemental, in the physical body, and the warmth of the physical body. Or you might say also the first warmth in Saturn is the foundation of the later physical body. So then this links Vidar both to the physical body and to the elemental realm. That's why you can find him both places. This is a mystery or a riddle that took me a long time to understand. The first time I was presented was an anthroposophic doctor who said that the astral body is hidden by one veil. The etheric body is hidden behind two veils. And the physical body is hidden behind three veils. There you find the three adversarial forces. And I heard that when I was around 20. And I didn't understand it until this year. So this understanding of the physical body is very close to the teaching that Vidar presents. So to understand the physical body, you have to understand the elemental world, and then you also will understand entanglement, the speed of light, and the translocation of diseases. Rudolf Steiner also say, apart from his general teaching, which is very much linked to the understanding the physical or elemental realm, Rudolf Steiner also said that Vidar will bring the new clairvoyance, which will be extremely important in these times, especially these Ragnarok times where the gods are changing their seats or their chairs. Because when Ahriman incarnate, again according to Rudolf Steiner, when Ahriman incarnate, he will teach us false clairvoyance, and by this create the war of all against all. Because if everybody sees different, then we will, and we actually see it, because then we believe it. We will fight those who do not see the same. If I see an angel with 2 wings and Andre see it with 4 wings, then we will fight. No, it is 4 wings. No, it is 2 wings. No, it's an angel. No, it's an archangel, and so on. And then Vidar and Rudolf Steiner said that this is one of the more important contributions that Vidar's teaching will bring. And that is the new clairvoyance. And I was wondering for many years before I met Vidar, what is a new clairvoyance? Because myself, I had a certain clairvoyance from I was quite early on. By fading into the elemental world, you could see in the elemental world. And what is a new clairvoyance? New, see a new, is it a sight? Is it, do you see with the eyes, or how do you do it? I was really wondering or thinking how that could be done. And I didn't know that Valentin Tomberg already had written a chapter on this in one of his books, which I was aware of after Vidar told me about this new clairvoyance. And for presenting the new clairvoyance, I must mention here, there is a stone found at the holy place near Cologne, which depicts Vidar. Rudolf Steiner mentioned it, and there is a book written about it by a certain Mr. Anderson, I think. And he have pictures of this stone. I don't know where that is now. I have the book where he depicts Vidar. And Rudolf Steiner also said that Vidar is depicted on this stone. And the interesting thing is that there are 2 male figures on this stone, one at one side and the other on the other side. One is bigger and older and have a beard. One is smaller and younger and do not have a beard. And then this book, the Vidar Flame, I think this book is called, or the Flame of the Vidar, conclude that these are 2 pictures of Vidar, one from his younger days and one from his older days, which is a very interesting conclusion. You see a god, you depict a god, and they don't have younger days without beard and older with beard. Because when you come to the threshold, you will see there are 2 entities on the threshold of the elemental world. One is bigger and older, and one is younger, and that is Balder. So when Vidar, at least in my situation, was finished with his teaching, he said that now we come to the very important point of introducing the new clairvoyance. And then he said, for doing this, my friend Balder will do that. So there were 2 gods, Vidar and Balder. And Balder is the name of the god of the northern people who was had to do with clairvoyance. He could see into other worlds. So then you are presented to Balder, and he explained that the new clairvoyance is a clairaudience that has to do with the ears. And if you read Valentin Tomberg, that's what I started with, but that was a little early in this lecture. He explained that we have 12 sense organs. And these 12 sense organs are each one connected to a zodiacal sign or a stream of etheric energy coming from cosmos. And some of these streams, the adversarial forces can corrupt. And some of the streams, they cannot corrupt. He tell which one. You know, the twin is corruptible. Certain streams are corruptible and certain streams are not corruptible. I cannot tell all of them. I don't remember all the details. But the stream that goes to the sense organ of the ear is non-corruptible. That is the point. And that is Valentin Tomberg's. He is very described this very carefully. So when the clairvoyance then is led through the ears, it becomes incorruptible. And there will not be a war of all against all. If we, all of us, the whole world, can develop a clairvoyance audience, the word is incorruptible. The sight is corruptible. And I've seen that in quite many clairvoyant colleagues. If you depend only on sight, it can be corrupted by the adversarial forces. So this development of the word, the sound, through the sound and the ears, and then connected in the middle at the pineal gland with the force of the third eye, will be incorruptible. And when you think about this new book from Judith van Halle, Das Wort, that the word in the seven realms, that is a huge work. It is some 1,000 pages, 3,000 maybe. She talked a lot about the sound, the word, and the elemental being that live in the sound. 100 pages about this. And these are what we can use to create. As Rudolf Steiner said, in the future we have to give birth or create through our larynx. That is through the sound, through the word, like God did in the beginning. He spoke and then it was. And God said, it will be light. And there was light. And God said, there be plants. And there was plants. And so on. This is the importance of the word, the vibrations, and the air, the sound, which is not related to the sight. So these are the most important teachings brought by Vidar, the teacher, for our time. It is about the elemental world. It is about a new path through the elemental world to the door of the elements and behind the etheric world, where we may meet the Christ. And also the development of the new clairvoyance, which is a clairvoyance audience. So if you want to have a good explanation about that, I would like you to read the treatise of Thomberg. I can, if you want, I can find out exactly the page and book, but I do not have that present just at this moment. I'm not really good at these links. I forget what book and what page. I'm not good at that anymore. When I studied medicine, I could remember page 400 at this or that book, but I cannot do that anymore. Sorry. Yeah, that is the most important mission of Vidar today, and Rudolf Steiner also say that his mission is more than just teaching and bringing the new clairvoyance. He actually described Vidar's mission today as manifold. He described him as sort of taking over the seat of Michael, because when Michael in 1879 became or started to develop as an archive to become the zeitgeist of our time, then Vidar took over his immediate work as a contact to human beings, and as Rudolf Steiner say, the Archangel of the Sun, which Michael was before. Now Vidar is the Archangel of the Sun. And also, he is the face of Christ. Steiner also said that Vidar was the bringer of Christ from the north to the south, what that ever might mean. I think it has to do with the northern path of initiation. Coming from north, he also said in a lecture in Norway, in Oslo, at that time Christiania, the 16th of May 1913 or 14, that Europe has a lot to expect from this impulse coming from the north. He said actually Norway, because he also added somewhere that Vidar was the folkgeist, the folk spirit of Norway. So he had or has many sides which we could talk a lot about. But for me, it is as a teacher and bringer of the new clairvoyance, he is today the most important. And then I asked him directly, because when you have stand in front of, on the threshold and on the gate, I asked him, at what day shall we celebrate your existence? And then it was very clear, the 20th of August, which is today. And that is why we are here. And this was a little introduction to the celebration today. And I will claim that this day is special because it is easier to enter or to penetrate into the mysteries of the elemental world today. I can feel it. I felt it from already this morning. Here it is now 8 o'clock in the evening. But from the morning, certain things that I had not understood with the elemental world was suddenly this morning clear. And I thought, wow, there is something in this 20th of August. We have now a little time for questions, and usually the questions take a lot of time. But this was centered as at Vidar as a teacher for our time. So if you, my dear friends, have some comments or questions to what he said, we will do that now.
Dear Ari, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. So, dear friends, do you know how to raise your hand using your machine? So this is a little icon reactions in the bottom. Click on it and it will be another button, raise your hand. So please do so. It will be done in chronological order. Okay, so Ari, Richard is first. Richard, go ahead.
Yes, somebody put it in the chat, but what is Tom Berg's book in which he discusses these things?
It is it is the Tarot book. But I will get my friend Marco Maula in Helsinki. He have this page number present, and I can ask him, and I can ask Andre to post it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Tom is next.
Yeah, Meditations on the Tarot, somewhere around page 150 to 200. Okay.
Thank you for the talk. And you had talked about the twilight of the gods, the Ragnarok, and there, and also, I mean, in the Greeks' stories, as the gods decline, there are new there are demigods. There's something between the god and the human that emerges in both cases, and I think in all cases of religions, they all have that kind of transition. Do you have any comments about what that would be?
Yeah, this transition is all gods in this time. They have a transition. Michael have a transition. Christ appear in the etheric world. Vidar become the Archangel of the Sun. We have all this change. So that is quite, this time is very important in that matter. But you asked about these demigods. And that's quite interesting because they are often called giants. And they are elemental beings or heroes. So that is what I think they are.
Thank you.
Any other?
Okay, Owen has a question. Owen,
Hello.
please go ahead.
Thank you for taking the question, and thanks for your talk, Ari. As always, much appreciated. You mentioned that Vidar is now associated with the door of the elements and the door of the light. But when you said that he's also standing in for Michael, I'm wondering if he's also linked to the door of the sun. So he's actually linked to 3 of the doors. So that's just one observation. But my question is really if you could elaborate a little bit more on the veils. So when you say astral body 1, ether body 2, physical 3 veils, you say you now understand that better. Can you just give us more of a hint as to what you understand about that?
Yes, I will try because these have been a riddle for me all my life. To understand, or when you have, this was told me by an anthroposophic doctor who was clairvoyant herself. So when you try to see the astral forces in a patient, it is not that difficult. You don't have to penetrate deeply. When you try to see the etheric forces, you have to go 2 steps to observe them. And when you have to go into the elemental, you have to go 3 steps. With steps, I mean, and I describe that in my book, on the path to the elemental, there are 3 sub thresholds. On the path to the etheric, there are 2 sub thresholds, and at the astral, 1 sub threshold. That is the path of the death. Was that enough?
Yes. And would you say that Vidar is now linked to all 3 of the doors if he's
No,
taken over from?
No, but that was interesting. I have met him only in 2 of the doors. The door of the elements, where he is the main guardian, and the door of light, where he is not the main, because the main guardian there is Jesus. But he is connected to that. And I understood, that was also one thing I understood this morning, that is because this door of light is related to the physical body. That means the elemental body. So the elemental body carries the I organization, while the elemental world as itself in itself encompasses the whole elemental kingdom.
Yeah. But what about the door of the sun, which was Michael's door? Is Vidar now connected there as well?
No, that was I said. I have not been able to observe that. But I will consider your opinion seriously, and I will look closer. Thank you.
It was just a question. Thank you.
Yeah, but all questions, they can initiate quite much.
Thoughts.
Questions are important.
Yeah, I say that as well. I like questions. You can ask me a question if you want, Ari.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So Anthony is next.
Well, it's always, Ari, thank you very much. I'm going to adjust something here. Okay, am I showing up, Andre?
You are perfect all the time.
Yeah, we can
voice?
see you.
That's fine. Wonderful. Okay, good. I wasn't quite sure from my
But the
setup.
pimples on your nose also show up. That was a joke.
Okay. Okay, well accepted. Okay. You were talking about spiritual truths are created as elementary or elemental beings.
Yes.
And it dawned on me that when one goes to an art gallery and looks at a painting, the painting's been created by whoever it may be, whether it's a Rembrandt or someone else that has put thought into the process.
Yes.
There are elemental beings that enter that activity.
Yeah. Yes.
And do they stay with that so that when we go to a gallery and we look at a painting and it resonates in us somehow, is there a transference of sorts happening
Yes. Yes.
from that painting that we're looking at? And we
Yeah,
actually
that is
perceive
why
it.
that is why the original painting tells you or gives you so much more than a reproduction.
Yes, that was my question actually, because
Yeah.
those elementals are what we are experiencing.
Yes.
Is there a transference from that painting to us? But if
Yes.
they're spiritual, then there's no harm done.
No, except I have seen one painting. I saw a painting by Salvador Dali, and it was named The Hallucinated Toreador. And I observed the elemental beings being transferred to people by that, and they created some sort of madness. And I would also say, if you have people who practice black magic, they often have the upside down Christ picture painted, not a reproduction. And that creates black magic. And black magic is elemental beings who are used by egoism or other negative reasons. So you're totally right. That is elemental beings. And they, when you then have seen this or experienced, you are in connection. That become entanglement. Or as Rudolf Steiner said, if you have heard one of my, even read half a page of my books, you are connected to me for eternity, he said.
So would that be a connection to the artist himself or herself through that a process?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. There's another question that I have, or at least the comment. With the Vidar column that you spoke about, that Steiner spoke about, the four-sided column, the young and the old. What I did notice in that column is that in the young, the mouth is closed. He's the silent one.
Ah.
And in the old, the mouth is open.
Very good.
So
because he started to open his mouth around the start of the 20th century. At the beginning of 1900. He was silent until then. This column was made earlier, so the one who made it must have had a view into the future.
yes.
Because at that time he was silent.
And the ears are very large. I mean, the upper.
Yes.
This is the clear audience.
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah. So the silence, the open mouth, the ears, everything is so eloquently
Yes.
put.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So, Karin is next.
This is for me, it's a very elementary question for me, but I'm not sure that my understanding.
Louder, please.
It's the best I can do. I've got a poor voice. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can.
I live mostly in the world of imagination and visual. I know that I'm making a transition to the auditory late in life, but can you give me some more pictures of elementals to expand my understanding of, like, are they in 4 realms or are they everywhere? Can you help me with pictures like giants and such?
Yeah. It is then important to understand that the physical world and the elemental world is the same. And the physical world is dressed by the material illusion. So everything physical consists of elemental beings. Trees, flowers, mountains, the chair, a book, a painting, whatever, they consist of elemental beings. So it is really the elemental beings that you see, but they are hidden behind veils. So you think it is a material world. So yes, they are. That is a picture you can use maybe. And some of these elemental beings are free roaming, and some are bound. For example, the elemental being in a tree or a human being is bound to the tree or the human being, and that is health. Then we are sort of in Eden. But then the sinning starts, the wrong thoughts, the misdeeds, that creates pathological elemental beings. And they are not necessarily bound. So they can translocate to others, like described in the Gospels, when that Christ say to these demons, go out, and then they went out. And they are in certain times called demons because they are created by ill deeds. And some are very demonic, for example, created by murder or things like that. The worst demons of all are created by child murder. They are almost impossible to transform. So that is these two groups of elemental beings: the bound, the steady, the sort of the natural, the necessary, and then the created by all the deeds of humanity in the war and so on and so on. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Rupert.
Hi, Ara. I just wanted to ask you. You said at the beginning of your talk that stars once talked, and I mean, we've had, you know, yesterday. Well, on the 23rd of August, there's a black moon, and then yesterday the moon aligned with Jupiter, and today with Venus, and tomorrow with Mercury. Right. And my question is, there's also this comet that's come into our solar system. And my question is it possible that that we are receiving some communication now? And if we are, is it possible that it's through elementals? And then even if that could come through a computer, yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
I don't think I'm the right one to answer those questions. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So, dear friends, more questions? Okay, so Miriam is raising her physical or elemental hand. Miriam? Yeah, unmute your machine and go ahead. Do you still have a question?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, go ahead.
Today I was reading with my friend in a book about Vidar. It is this book. And there was told something about Vidar and the wolf from the Edda, that Vidar came and put his foot in the mouth of the wolf on his, I don't know how it's called in English. My English is not that well.
Joe.
And he had leather on this foot that the people collected for ages. And they collected the leather that was not for the shoes anymore. There were the small parts. And the one who is writing the book tells a kind of explanation that as a human being, you have your energy to go your own way. And the kind of extra energy you can give to Vidar to help him to beat this Fenris wolf. I'm not I don't know really how to ask it, but I wonder what is the meaning of the foot in I heard that that also the human body is in connection with that the foots are connected with Christ and Pisces, and you told that this Fenris wolf was conquered by the will, and that the will is connected to the foot. Can you say it? What is the importance of the human foot and the foot in this whole story?
Yeah, I can say something about that, because I was also taught this explanation that this leather was from making shoes, and that was a will that was left over that could connect in the foot of Vidar to kill the Fenris wolf. It sort of defended him against the teeth. And I asked Vidar about that, and he said the organs of the gods, you might say organs or parts of the gods or functions of the god, they change through time. So he said today these leather, they is more like ears, and they make Vidar hear the mourning of the earth, hear the suffering of the earth, rather than protect his foot. So he told me, and I've written that in the book, my books too. He said, this is not very important, but relatively important. He said, tell your friends, the anthroposophists, that it no longer is the leather will, sort of. It is the ears listening on the foot. He have hundreds of ears listening to the mourning of the earth. So this is totally new, from totally new explanation of his foot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Miriam, are you complete? You good?
Yeah, I just have this kind of new question. If you can, when you go this elemental path, also hear this mourning.
When you develop this clairaudience, then you can hear the mourning.
Yeah.
And that you have to go the whole path.
Yeah. Clear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Ari, here are some questions on chat and questions from Raoul, our participant from workshop. So how clairaudience relates to process of fading? If you can probably just explain the whole sequence of getting clairaudience.
Yeah. How do you get clairaudience? That is the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Then it Rudolf Steiner said, Vidar will bring the nuclear audience. That means you cannot develop it without him. And that means you have to go to the door of the elements. You have to meet up with Vidar. Then the clairaudience will be given you.
So it's coming as gift.
It's a gift. Yes.
Right.
It is a gift.
If person will ask for it.
Well, I didn't, because I hadn't actually thought about it when I stood there. And then when Vidar was ready with his teaching, he said, and now I will introduce you to Balder, my friend, who will give the new clairaudience or the new clairvoyance. So when you come there, you will automatically receive the clairvoyance audience, I call it, because it is a connection between the eyes and the ears.
Okay, here's Nancy, this question.
Hello.
Nancy, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I have a question related to mechanical level, and it's obvious that AI is becoming a huge thing, and just wondering if you can reflect on how or if it can be used with Vidar's help or engagement to be with it and be transforming it, or you have to be pretty advanced in order to enter that realm and be able to not get entangled with all that's there.
This is a very huge question and a very difficult question, and but Vidar, one of the more important teaching that he brought was that this AI or virtual reality is becoming an area of society of its own. It can almost be liberated on its own. That's always when they say the machines take over or the AI takes over and so on. And he said several times and up through the last years that we have to take this seriously and also not to let it influence the other parts of society, for the economic, the law, the industry. So we have to deal with a fourfold society. And also, as we become more and more aware that we consist of the elemental body, the etheric body, the astral body, and the eye organization, which is also fourfold. We have to more and more, he said, deal with a fourfoldness instead of a threefoldness. So if we continue to talk about threefolding or threefold society, we will lose ability to harness the AI. He was very serious about just that point. And I know that that is to utter such words in the anthroposophic connection, to say that the threefoldness is should be during the coming years transformed to an understanding of the fourfoldness. That is sort of sacrilege. But he was very serious about it and said we have to look at that. Otherwise, we cannot harness it. We have to wield it. And that is by seeing what laws that govern in this virtual reality, because they are other than the three other functions of society. Okay.
Thank you. I'd heard somebody who was probably clairvoyant, but a physicist who was working in this realm saying that she thought that we needed to add to AI the higher forces, so we
Yes.
can learn learn the higher forces that are available.
Yes.
That might be the only way to help it turn around, because at this level we have left it too long.
Yeah, and that is what Vidar said. We have to stop concentrating on the threefold society. We have to now start to understand the fourfold society. He said that is so important today. Otherwise, we will not be able to wield it. So this lecture is on the threefold society, Chicago branch, threefold human. So it's a little sacrilege to say here, but I say it. Thank you for bringing it up.
We can rename. We can make fourfold human being.
Yes.
Ari, here is question from the chat. Is it possible for a person who is physically blind and deaf to develop clairvoyance or clairaudience?
That is a theoretical question, of course. I would think it is fully possible. If you have read this book about this French resistance man, what was his name? And It Was Light is the title of the book about him.
Lucifer.
Yeah, Jacques Lucifer. And he could see the honesty of the people who wanted to help the French resistance. So I would think so, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So, okay, Sue, please unmute your.
Thank you.
Can we see your face, or you prefer to not?
Yeah, I'm not looking too good today, but
wow,
hello.
you're good.
Thank you for this, Ari. Today and all of your teachings. I have a question about, I've been taking baby steps on the elemental path, but I'm trying to heal some very chronic physical conditions. And I know you've said, working on yourself is the hardest thing. And so I work with the etheric, I work with Christ, I pray, I meditate, but in seeking relief, acupuncture and herbs can be really helpful, but I'm not wanting to translocate. But so what can a person do when they're not clairvoyant and competent to transform? I mean, I work on transforming the elemental beings in all sorts of ways, and I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the only force that can transform elemental beings, that is Christ. So somehow you have to bring Christ into the elemental beings. And that is so important that is in the consecration act when the priest say Christ in you. And that is so if we really manage to bring Christ in us. And the help is, of course, the bread and the wine, which is also the blood and corpse or body of Christ. So that is the only way I know that it is possible to transform elemental beings. So you have to find some way to bring Christ in. And I don't say that is easy. Those who are Christians say, well, it's easy, it's just to accept Christ. I always crumble when they say that it is. Maybe they think it's easy, maybe it is easy, maybe, but for others it is not easy. So you have just to find a way to bring Christ into the elemental being. Then it will transform.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And yeah, I've been working with that transubstantiation and
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess my question is, are there other ways than just what you're teaching? And I think the answer.
No, that's not that I know.
Oh, that's the only way you know to bring Christ in is what you're teaching. That there's
No,
not.
there are many ways to bring Christ in.
Yes,
But
exactly.
to bring that is the only way is to bring
Yes.
Christ in.
Yes.
But there are many ways.
Yes.
From
Yes.
prayer, from whatever.
Communion.
Yeah.
Communion.
Great.
Yes.
And you have also grace.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for raising that question.
You. So Mia is next.
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure, Ari, I really understood when you spoke about fourfolding. Do you consider that AI is the fourth force?
Yeah, the virtual reality, which is wider than AI. This reality of computers, you might say. This is with the AI, with the control, with all this computer, with the GPT, GPS, everything. Okay. That is a real world. And in this real world, there are real forces. And these real forces express itself through real elemental beings or demonic beings. Like in the economic, in money, in economy, you know, that is a part of the threefold. There are real forces. Money is not just something; it is real. And we have to consider, like this other woman talked about, this physician or whatever it was, saying we have to take it seriously as a part of reality, part of society, even a part of ourselves. Otherwise, it will be unwielded. That is what I meant.
Okay, thank you.
So Ari, it is important to process and use all those forces in a good manner in order to transform it.
Can you repeat that, please?
Is it important? This is important to use those forces which are behind AI and all this virtual world in order to transform it.
Yes, and that is what Nicanor Parlas was very concerned about. This new AI world is so important. I talked with him on phone, and we had some plans to Christianize the supercomputers.
Yeah.
Because they You know, in the world there are 3 or 4 or 5 supercomputers who covered vast areas, and they are Ahrimanic. They are under the spell of the adversarial forces. And it is so, you can see that. You can see when young people, they look at this, they are mesmerized. They are lost. And if you then put Christ into this, even a TV or a Xbox or whatever it's called, you can see the change. They are not mesmerized anymore. They are free from these adversarial forces. And this is so important today because we sort of shut our eyes a little to this world. Many do, at least. I know many anthroposophists, they take it seriously, like Nicanor Parlas, Andrew Linnell, and so on. And that is very important.
Yeah, a lot of anthroposophists are scared off by dealing with virtual reality and computers.
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you, I mean, I can see absolutely same way or same pattern of what human being did with thinking, because thinking was given to human being in the form of fallen angels. This is Rudolf Steiner in Karmic Cycle. It's quite interesting because they are empowering or they providing thinking, but human beings should just, you know, think right thoughts, right spiritual thoughts, not a fallen one.
Yes.
So this is lecture 11 in, if you remember this this great illustration of Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche was weak enough to fight with these angelic beings, and that's why he went Ahrimanic.
Yes.
Okay, Richard.
And today, in
Hafford,
faith, we should fill the computer with our spiritual powers, imbued with Christ, that we can change this AI world.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
In regards to transforming, to reply to Sue Gipple, there are medical meditations at the end of the pastoral medicine, which is also called broken vessel cycle. I will follow the path that dissolves the element, leads me down to the Father who sends illness to work out karma, and leads me up to the Spirit who guides the erring soul towards freedom. Christ leads downward and upward, creating spirit man and earth man in harmonious union. So that's a meditation you can do and then bring your medicine in there. And then there's not translocation.
Good.
So, Richard, is it pastoral course, pastoral medicine, or what's title?
It's called, the lecture cycle was called pastoral medicine, but Chris Banford has also changed it to broken vessels. So that's one way or the other you can find it, and it's at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now our dear friend from London, Yaya.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Hi, and thank you so much for this enlightening talk that you gave, Are. I'm very ignorant about AI, but I've recently attended a symposium on, it was called Creative Necessity, and it was all about artificial intelligence. And what I've learned, at least I hope I got it right, is that all the data used to create answers by artificial intelligence have been put in by human beings, which also gives us the opportunity to further the input with our own creative and spiritual impulses. You are in a position to redeem these forces, but I think that just as a simple individual, we can contribute, at least in a small degree, maybe not so much in the transformation, by adding creative forces and spiritual forces, we can perhaps ease the way for people like you who are in a much stronger position to change things for all of us, and for which I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So it looks like we are complete, dear friends, for now.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. Anthony.
Anthony, always wait to the last.
I'm so sorry.
Right. Yes.
You did that last time too.
I did that last time. I know it's becoming a bad habit.
You remember this one?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Antimony. But Steiner says it's the only element on the earth that will fend off electromagnetic forces.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Yes, that's a very important element, actually. But
Yeah.
you know, the other side of that element is also on the dark side because it's used for weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Yet China is the largest supplier of antimony and has control over the antimony market. But the United States obviously is looking for places, etc., to mine the antimony, to purchase it, etc., because of the increase in weapons in the world at the moment. Yeah. But the reason that I pushed the hand is that I think I've shown this before, but sometimes it's good to try to put thoughts and ideas onto paper in the form of a painting or drawing, etc. I don't know if you can see that, but
oh yeah,
we're running into the same problem as before with the focus. Maybe I can turn off the focus here somewhere. Oh gosh, I did that last
Anthony,
time.
turn off the blurring of your background.
Yes, but where do I see it, Andrew? I can't see it on my front here on the sheet. You know what? I'm going to go
Settings.
no settings. Okay. I'm so sorry.
you don't look that sorry.
Well, I think I've found a short way here. I've found something.
Icon.
Settings, okay.
Video icon, the little upgoing arrow. Click the up. And there's a menu that opens and it says blur background.
I am in settings.
No,
and
the video icon.
The video and effects. Yeah, video and effects. And okay, now on
Anthony, can you just work through this problem and we will hear from Gillian Rosenberg?
Yes, please. Yes,
okay,
please.
Thank you. Oh, Gillian.
Yes.
Gillian, could you please unmute your machine? She cannot hear me.
Okay, I can.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, yes, you are in.
I'm I have a personal question, and I'm not very sure I can voice it. On the one hand, and I think they're connected, I have a question: what is the elemental world? So it feels like a stupid question that I should know the answer. But there's the elemental world and the elemental kingdom and the elemental beings and I feel like I'm being blocked by the words. The words can be a doorway and an obstacle, and somehow feel I'm being locked on the other side of the door with the words to really grasp that. And then, if I might just say, the personal side is I've just been to Sweden for 2 months and come home yesterday. And I live in Johannesburg in South Africa. And just below the apartment where I live, there's a most magnificent tree, maybe it's 100 years old, I forgot its name, that has these extraordinary pink flowers. And another tree, and while I was away, some very ignorant, violent people have cut off enormous branches of this exquisite, magnificent being. And I'm feeling like I can't deal with it. Like I'm not strong enough to live with it, and I don't know what to do. If there's anything I can do, or if I have to kind of work with acceptance. But at the moment, I can't sleep, I'm having nightmares, I'm being kind of torn apart by this terrible violence.
No, that I cannot help you with now. That I cannot help you with now.
Yeah, Gillian, unfortunately, I cannot help. So
Yes,
did
no,
you
I
hear?
understand. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So is Anthony ready with picture? Okay, Anthony, please unmute your computers for comments. All right, and I will put a pin on you.
Can
Okay,
that be
great.
seen?
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. It's Vidar, and standing inside the mouth of the Fenris wolf, and it's a mean wolf.
Yeah.
This is Arman.
Anthony, is it your drawing?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But you know, as I said, the feeling sometimes when you let's say take in Vidar to that point where it has to be expressed. So that was my feeling here. I had to express what it was like, or might have been like, or is
Louder,
like.
louder, can't hear you.
Yes, okay. What I was saying is that I did this based on the feeling that I received when I had first studied and came across Vidar and studied Vidar, and I just wanted to express the feeling of the Fenris wolf and his task in our time. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It will be artistic part of our meeting. Thank you, Anthony. Good addition. So we've been singing Vidar song 2 years ago, but I didn't prepare, unfortunately. So we have even video. Okay, dear friends, we are working 1 hour and 40 minutes. And maybe it's good time to complete and finish our meeting. Dear Ari, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us and giving wonderful lecture. And dear friends, so feel free just unmute yourself and say thank you to Ari. It will be recorded.
Ari and Andy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So wonderful.
Honor to be here.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
The
you,
silent
Ari.
God speaks. My little wolf.
That's the favorite. Help! Help!
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye, dear friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you.